All right, 5 o'clock. I should have set an alarm. That's twice it's happened to me now. What's going on, Wayne? Welcome to the chat. Man, it has been a tiring day. I am more tired than I have been in a very, very, very long time. I don't even feel like I've done that much. Gotten that much done. What's up, Steven? How you doing? Welcome to the chat. Got my little sweet treat going on. Just working on some stuff. But, oh yeah, Wayne, you eating? What's up, T-Walker? Yeah, man, it's just those tiring days, man. We've been over at the warehouse, cleaning it, pressure washing. Well, trying to. Ben ended up having to install a bunch of water line for us just to get us access to be able to do it. So, what's up, Michael, Mama? Welcome home, or at least to my home. Oh man, yeah. What's up, Jeffrey? Welcome in. Bulk strip substrate done, huh, Wayne? You've been working hard too, huh? Yeah, Samantha and I both looked at that thumbnail that came up, and we were like, man, we both look tired. It's just been one of those days for sure. What's up, Amanda? Welcome to the chat. You're welcome, Michael, Mama. Come on. I was sorry I missed your call. I think it was last night. I saw the number and clicked off because I was at the warehouse. My dad and I were locking up right when you called. So, thank you, Steven. I appreciate that. We get a few more people on here, and I'll announce the winner of the bulk giveaway. What's up, Lance? My gosh, guys, we're filling up fast again. You guys always blow me away with how much you're willing to come listen to me speak. What's up, Jeffrey? New Orleans here. Just got my fogger in and bought my shelf to start my grow. Congratulations on the first steps, man. Let us know how it goes for you. If you need any help with problems, not that you need problems. I got mush brain. I definitely got that mush brain going on. If you need help with problems, check out the Mossback Mushroom Syndicate on Facebook. There's a ton of us on there. And man, now people are just answering questions. I'm not the only one answering questions and stuff. There are people going back and forth. I get on there and I'm like, holy crap. I'm not even as in touch with my own group as I'd like to be. So, because there's just so much going on. What's up, Anthony? Welcome to the chat. Man, I'm glad you caught it too. It seems like you always come in right before I'm about to head out. But I decided to do today later. Number one, because I was tired. And number two, because we've been, with this warehouse stuff and everything else. And I just, there's not a lot of vroom in me at the moment. When's the next flight? I don't know, but you're going to have to be fighting for people, with the coronavirus. Don't bring that over to my place. Jerome Calderon. Hey, Andrew, can you reuse LC needles and syringes? I mean, technically speaking, yeah, you can. You got to pressure cook them. I wrap mine in aluminum foil and put a little water in the aluminum foil so that there's steam going. I haven't done that in a very long time. And you got to make sure that it's certain disposable ones can't survive pressure cooking and some can. So you have to make sure you check on that. I was asking if you wrap your flask with parafilm or tape when you PC. I don't wrap my flasks with anything. If you check that video out, I just stuff it with polyfill. And then I put aluminum foil over, cap it over, and then I give it a little twist so that it'll stay on. That's the only thing that I've got on there, capping it. Jeffrey, woot, little mush brain. Been there, been watching you for a while now. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for watching. Yeah, man, mush brain's a good thing when you're happy and stuff. But when your brain's mushy and not mushroomy, it's not so great. In fact, look at that, guys. I've got bags under my eyes. I got them Choate eyes. That's my mother's maiden name, Choate. They always have these baggy eyes. It's gross. It's not really gross. I like me. Hey, got the shipment and the jars are growing fast. Good, Rich. I'm glad to hear that, man. What's up, Adam? Yeah, Rich. Oh man, I can't remember which ones you got now, but dude, I'm killing it on the liquid culture game. I'm actually putting together a bulk liquid culture. Another one. So we got our bulk liquid culture kit. I'm going to do one that's medicinal with all this viral stuff going on. A lot of the mushrooms, I feel like the mushroom supplements I take really help. So being able to do selling liquid culture, people can make their own grain, dry it, grind it up, or just cook with it or whatever, I think would be good for people. So we're doing like, let's see, I got some of my cultures from Lenny Rockwell on the medicinal side, and then some of them are mine. So my reishi strain that I'm selling is mine. And then I got like 4 from him, and then, I'll have a couple other medicinals in there as well once that's done. But man, I'm glad you're like enjoying that. Spore your own good. Hey, what's going on? KC, when you let us see your new facility. So we did Robin was over there video and stuff today, but you can check it out on our Instagram, Mossy Creek Mushrooms on Instagram. And then I've got a lot more on my personal one, which is at MycoMiner. So MycoMiner, MycoMiner. So you can get some sneak peeks there. I do a small tour in this video that's coming up. So, Jeffrey, do we have to sign up anywhere for the giveaway? Actually, the giveaway winner's already been randomly chosen, and I'm actually going to be announcing it. The place to do it was on the community. We had a post, and you either had to comment on that one, or a Facebook one, or Instagram one. We just programmed that in and randomize. So. How come there's only 1 thumbs up? I don't know, Lance. There should be more, right? I totally think there should be more. So, KC Lab, check out his Insta or Facebook group for the warehouse video. There you go. So, Jerome, you're following me too, huh? They closed schools as of today. A kid that goes to it came in contact with someone with COVID-19. This is getting ridiculous for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're doing closures early. If we can stop the spread. Even if it was a new, particularly virulent flu, I'm just glad that they're trying to stop all that stuff. I mean, we don't want to just wipe out the older generation or anything. I mean, we want to keep this stuff going. Hey, man, not to jump right into grilling you, but when it comes to laminar flow, how come we work in front instead of to the side? Do we create turbulence? Like if your right hand would it be better? Like if you're right-handed, would it be better to be to the left? So, Walker, the reason why is you're creating a little bit of turbulence around your hand for sure, but most of it is going that way. So the reason why we work in the flow, and I don't know about you guys, like I try not, I still do it sometimes, like especially if I have to grip a dish, but you really want to get your tools to go into the stream as much as possible, everything in front of your hands, and be working with everything in front of you. And that way, mold spores that are in the dish, like you would turn your dish if you had like a moldy spot, and you'd want mold blowing that way. But when I work with mold, I tend to work in a still air box, or even, so my flow hood's blowing air and it circulates through the lab and then goes out my door. I'll work on the side of the table that's right next to my door. So if I'm working with koji mold or something like that, so the mold spores blow out the room, and I do work from to the side then. It's all about thinking about flow and imagining if that mold spore gets picked up and it's blown, where's it going to blow to? Excuse me. Blows right to you. I don't want to work with moldy stuff really in my lab because I've got a bunch of dishes standing behind me. So whenever I'm sitting there opening up a mold dish, it's just blowing all that mold back behind me. So the answer is you create a little bit of turbulence, but it's all still generally going that way. So, like Mama, so the stopper is PCable. You're talking about in the syringe? Some of them are, some of them are not. Sorry about that, guys. I meant to silence that. Or you mean in the flask? I don't use stoppers in flasks. Just polyfill and the aluminum foil. That's it. Give me just a second, guys. I don't know who this is, but I'm gonna just message them real quick and let them know. It's a local number, and it's weird for me to get local numbers often on the live stream. So, Okay. So, I don't think you want me to say what strains I ordered, lol. Jeffrey, you did. Yes, you wouldn't have ordered any of those from me. I don't think so. Fair enough. Have you ever had oyster mycelium turn pinkish, reddish, or green? Not so much on the oysters, but the hericiums I have a lot. And my contacts are bothering me. We've been in that dusty warehouse all day. I might take those out and put my glasses on while we're talking. But hericiums in particular can get pretty pink. I haven't turned green or really reddish. You might you might have a contaminant if that's the case, because a lot of times if it grows out white and then starts turning green in the center and continues going, that's a mold. When pumping air into the hood, better from outside or in? I mean, you want to recirculate as much of the air in your room as possible, but you also want it to be well ventilated. So we bring from both outside and recirculate a little bit from the inside. So there are both. Excuse me. Well, I try to get that going. All right. Sorry, I keep doing this and this and this, and it looks like I'm not looking at you guys. I'm just reading the questions as they're coming in, and it comes in faster on this computer than it does on the one I'm doing the live stream on. So, all right. So that answers that. Rich Jenkins, where's a good place to get rubbing alcohol? Typically Walmart, but right now, I'll tell you a little secret. We recently stocked up a few gallons, so we're good for a long time. But your farmers co-ops are great places to get alcohol for by the gallon. It's still more expensive than Walmart, but it's going to be better than nowhere. Tractor Supply is a good place too. Walmart and a few others are empty. Yeah, Tractor Supply, Big Lots. I don't know if you guys have Big Lots where you're at. Dollar General, like dollar stores and stuff, still have it for, of course, to a lot of people I went to. I went to Walmart at midnight last night while they were stocking shelves and bought up hand sanitizer. It came out because I'm not worried about this coronavirus stuff so much. What I'm worried about is all the panic that people are doing that's buying stuff that, I mean, I bought this warehouse, or not bought, leased this warehouse, and we've got to clean it, and I can't find bleach anywhere to clean my floors. And because of all the scare buying going on, I called my suppliers and everything else, and they told me that if I don't have a history of reorder with them, I can't buy it. And I was like, but I just got this warehouse. I don't have a history of reordering. I'm not buying this for the black market. I'll take a bottle or two, that kind of thing. The scaring is going to do more damage than the virus. Everybody's freaking out about this virus, and it is the terror that people are experiencing that is going to cause more harm than anything. Wildman, no plugs. When am I going to get my LC? Thanks. No plugs. When am I going to get my LC? Thanks. I don't recognize your name, Wildman, from Wildman, so I'm not sure which is which on orders and everything else. I mean, I get multiple orders a day. I'd have to go look. Just email me, mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com, and get with me, and I'll be able to tell you when stuff's coming out. Michael Lee, what's up, Mossback? So Pathfinder has been sitting in my fruiting chamber for 3 weeks and no pinning, and there was no contamination from culture to substrate. Any tips going to a rerun batch? So let's see. What is Michael Lee, can you tell me what your temperature is on your grow room? I know it's going to take a while before I get back down to it, but put in Pathfinder and then the temperature of your grow room, and I'll see if I can figure something out. Amanda, my grow room is almost done. Congratulations, darling. We've been building it since December, and it's big enough to hopefully produce 400 to 500 pounds a week. Nice. All right. Ambitious, darling. Quick question. Do you have issues with electrical equipment in the humidity, like tripping breakers, etc.? I just want to make sure I'm doing everything I can for things to run properly. So I have a video called Electricity and Water Don't Mix. I did have a problem where one of my fan plugs, I didn't seal it, and it burned up. But other than that, I've not really had any issues with the House of Hydrofog. If you're talking like a really wet room, you don't want cords sitting in water and all that kind of stuff. But you're definitely going to have a lot of issues if you don't use that dry fog. And if you got a plug sitting in water, then you're being a dummy, that kind of stuff. But other than that, my lights and everything else, no, I don't really have issues. The dry fog doesn't collect a whole lot. And then beyond that, where the lights are up above where the fog level goes, makes it a lot safer. And then we've just made sure to pull everything out as much as possible and have all the plugs outside the room. And then, there's one plug. They're the light plugs, and then there's the fan. There's an extension cord that runs to the fan, but we still have it as high as we can get it. Blow that mold on my face, lol. Joke. Don't do that. Okay, bye. I'm leaving. Well, your name's a little bit more under the radar this time. I mean, a little. What's up, Jerome? Lol. Oh, man. That was so long ago, I don't remember what we were laughing about. Cameron says, it is by my will I set my mycelium in motion. The stain comes from agar. The agar gives a warning. It is by my will I set my mycelium in motion. Hey, from Ohio. I'll work on it. Hey, I like it. It does. I think it needs a little bit of tweaking, but I like it. I like where it's going. I'm in the Seattle area, and the closest soil hole pellets I can find are 100 plus miles away. What would be my second best option as I try and zero in on soil hole pellets? Master's Mix alternative is what I'm asking. So Ocean Air, your best bet is probably hardwood fuel pellets or Douglas fir pellets with alfalfa pellets. Alfalfa pellets, you're up there in horse country. I know the Pacific Northwest is horse country. You're going to find alfalfa pellets. 16% supplementation. So 16% alfalfa pellets, the rest hardwood fuel pellets, and then hydrate to your liking, 50 to 60%. As far as lighting, do the shrooms need a specific light or just any, like a wide spectrum or something? So daylight works. 6,500 Kelvin is great. They like blue lights and a lot. I've seen people run LED-specific blue rooms. Here's a little secret for you guys. If you're running any kind of social media campaign whatsoever, don't use those blue lights. Use 6,500 Kelvin. It makes beautiful mushrooms, and 6,500 Kelvin is the perfect lighting for taking photos. So that'll up your A game. Do you trust rubbing alcohol more or less than Lysol for contaminant? So I use rubbing alcohol exclusive in my lab. I never use Lysol. We use Lysol in the house when we're cleaning stuff, but we use Lysol in the house and alcohol for my table, my lab table and my lab stuff. So Boogie Woogie. What's up, Boogie? I've been using grain alcohol since we don't have any rubbing alcohol, huh? It's way more expensive, which means got to use it sparingly. It is way more expensive. Pine Sol works. 99.99%. Pine Sol is a sanitizing agent. The original blend, not the new stuff. What's up, Nancy? Welcome to the chat. Everclear works, but it's better. But it's better drinking. I am not an Everclear fan. I'm not a hard alcohol fan, guys. I do make a really good rum. I don't think I'm supposed to say that, am I? I don't think it's kosher to make your own rum still. Anyways, I make a hell of a rum. I make it from beets. It is a old family recipe. That's what I meant, Lance. Don't drink it. Don't drink those, so it's all for cleaning. Right? You got to. Hey, what's up, Jason? Man, you're going to be on here even more. Didn't I work you enough at the warehouse? Andrej, hi. How often do you have to replace disc on your ultrasonic fogger? About once a quarter. It's about once every 3 months or so. It depends on how hard it's running. During the summertime, we have to replace it a lot more often because it runs a lot more often because the air conditioning dries out the air. Nancy, my humidity parameters right now are 65% on the low end, 85% relative humidity on the high end. Jason, work shall set you free. Indeed. is that how I am? Hi, everyone. Congratulations on your lease. Should be awesome. Thank you, Bloomin' Shrooms. Yeah, I was nervous as heck leading up to signing the lease. Signing the lease, I still was nervous, excited. Even today, I'm a little bit nervous, excited, but I am beginning to get way more excited than I am nervous. I'd love to know more about the baggers you and Ben are building. Will you be able to ship those? Any idea on how much they'll weigh? So Ben is working on the shipping ones for sure. And now that we have shipping docks, we will be able to ship them is what we're thinking. So Ben is working on, we're actually, nope, not that one. Nope, can't talk about that one. We are working on a bagger that can ship. It is in the works. And I think that is sooner rather than later. So I don't know how much they'll weigh. But I don't think that you'll need liftgate service for it. I'll have to ask Ben, but I believe that we'll have it light enough that you will not have to have liftgate service. Shrabling. What reasons do you know of lion's mane might produce deformed fruits? A fungi perfecti strain I have has given me problems in forming normal-looking fruits. Could the problem be the strain? It is not the strain, I would say. Knowing Paul Stamets's lion's mane strain, I've grown it before. It's a decent one. It is not my favorite. Now, it may be, I know he talks about, like, that one's rated pretty highly in like, the testing and stuff. I never can tell where the salesman begins and ends and the scientist begins and ends with him. But as far as I can tell, it's a pretty decent strain. That said, it's a dusty warehouse. All right. A lot of times your deformation comes from not enough fresh air or too much humidity. It could also be your lighting. The lion's mane does not like a really bright light on it. In fact, it's like really bright light sitting on the top of it will bruise it, is almost what it looks like. So, Blue and Shrooms, wonder if there's an optimal time to put LC on stir plate, and if too much just slows down the growth. I am sure there is. I haven't figured it out yet because I've left cultures stirring all night. Granted, gently, but I have left them stirring all night, and they seem like they only speed up. Thank you, Spore Your Own Good. I appreciate that. The more vigorously I stir them, the more they seem to grow. But I only stir them for a few minutes every day. So, or unless the last ones for the end of the day, they get left on all night. And everything seems to grow in faster because of it. AJ, hello from New York. Things are doing great up here. Thanks. Good, man. I'm glad to hear it. Thanks again for all you put out there. Love that time-lapse video you guys put out recently. Oh, the one in the grow room? Thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed making that one. It was a bit difficult going and constantly changing the cards. Ben got me like terabyte cards, I think. Like these terabyte cards that I'll be able to use for, and I've got a constant power supply for my camera now, so no more changing out batteries, no more changing out cards. I'll be able to take like a week-long time lapse without ever changing the card or messing with the camera other than cleaning the lens from the spores. So I'm glad you enjoyed that, man. I love the time lapses. It makes me really sad that they perform probably more poorly than any other type of video I put out. Those are my favorite to make. Those are my favorite to watch that I make. But it's also, they're not terribly informative, and for me, I guess it's like the art pieces that I get to do. It's like an actual piece of art that I get to put out into the world. So, what's up, coronavirus? That's a very topic, a very relevant name. Eric H, I've been using alfalfa. 16% works out to 1 scoop alfalfa, 5 scoops wood pellets. Seems to work. Yeah, that sounds about right. Amanda, I have the House of Hydro mist maker. I have most of the electrical plugs inside, but they have weatherproof casing around them, all of them toward the ceiling, though. So I should be good. I think you're right, Amanda, that you'll be okay. An overabundance of caution is worth a ton. So make sure you're good. Make sure that you're very careful with your electric and water, and always have a fire hydrant, an electrical rated fire extinguisher. Gosh, guys, this one may be a shorter Q&A than normal. Let's see. Boy. I said howdy. He said hi. Name the tune. The artist released the same album 3 times and no one noticed. I have no idea. I've got no idea. Hi, all just stalking, lol. What's up, Chip? Welcome to the chat. The howdy part. I still don't know what you're talking about, Robert. Boogie Woogie Pine Sol. Now, I would not have known that. Smells good too. You're very welcome, Boogie Woogie. I learned that from some friends of mine down in Atlanta. I actually taught them how to grow mushrooms, and then they brought back. It's the Changho transmissions, guys. I'm telling you, this is what this is. I put out these transmissions. You guys take that information and you bring me back relevant information that I get to share. But Loudmouth Farms down in Atlanta is the ones that taught me about the pine sol being a sanitizing agent. Sorry, didn't see any contest going on. No, you're fine, Rich. You're perfectly fine. There's no reason for you to be sorry. I'm sorry you didn't see it. We had it on Facebook and YouTube and I think Instagram and I don't remember what else. Thanks, brother. And by the way, I ordered the blue oyster. No rush. Keep it mossy. Hey, thank you very much for the order. Yeah, I mean, the next orders to go out are Monday. So anyone who's ordered mugs and haven't gotten them, LCs, etc., those are getting packaged up this weekend and then shipped out on Monday. And we'll be up to date. Unless you order like Sunday night, we will be up to date up to Sunday night on Monday's shipment. Do you have Facebook? If so, you want to be my mushroom friend? Well, sorry, Jeffrey. I have stopped taking friend requests from people I don't know personally. I have hundreds of mushroom friends that I don't even know on Facebook, and so I'm trying to hold back. Jason says, the new building is awesome. So much room for activities. So many activities. All the daily activities, and so much room for them. I'm very excited. Dude, this building is pretty slick. I'm really excited about it. In fact, Jason and I get to go back tomorrow and pressure wash the floor. Here's a can of worms. A lot of fuel pellets come from torn down shipping pallets. Some pallets come with treated wood. How do we avoid arsenic contamination? Should this be a concern? Buying the hardwood usually gets you around that. There are fuel pellets, and then there are hardwood fuel pellets, and there are different ratings, and they will tell you the differences in a lot of them and everything else. Here's the thing. I buy hardwood fuel pellet bags, and if they work, they work, and I don't care if there's a little bit of treated wood in them. It's just salt treatment. It's not going to hurt anything. The arsenic isn't a thing anymore, so they don't pressure treat with arsenic anymore. At least not in the United States. Maybe somewhere else. Master Moss. That is an incorrect title. You mentioned in another video that if using the white lids for LC yeast contam would be an issue. What lids do you suggest for LC jars? So I've gone back to metal. I bought these leak-proof ones that worked pretty well, but the problem is having the syringe filters after a while would just kind of pop out. And I didn't like that. So I do like metal lids because they fit really well, and I'm just making them disposable. I'm single use and done. I'm using a drill press, doing the bigger hole and the smaller hole, and I'm just mass producing those RTV silicone around my syringe filters and popping in my self-healing injector ports and calling it done. And that I'm having the best results with that all day long. I've used polyfill, I've used the micropore tape, and I've used all kinds of stuff. And, you know, I think for home use, a lot of that stuff's probably pretty good because, you know, if a jar goes bad, you're not that worried about it. But I like the way we've got it going right now. Any plans? I just don't like the white ones because you have to have that rubber gasket in there, and that thing is impossible to work with. For one thing, when you want to inoculate with agar, you got to take the lid off and you hope that the gasket doesn't fall in the liquid culture because now you got to fish it back out. And what are you going to fish it out with? Well, clean tool, right? But now you're putting a tool in. That's another potential vector for contamination. Then you put it back on and you try to get the lid closed and it falls back in or it crunches back up. And I don't know. I just hate those white lids, man. Any plans of doing ready-to-fruit blocks at the wholesale level? I already do that, and I am going to be doing it. I am not planning on shipping them in the beginning. It will still be local pickup in the beginning. But I already do it, so I mean, people can call me. I sell blocks. Is Ben going to have the schematics available first or the actual machine? So Ben already has the machine available. You guys can contact me at mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com, and I'll put you on the waiting list. The machine is selling for $1,500 is what we've got it with you coming in doing local pickup. The plans, so that means that the machine's already available. Now, the good news is right now we can only make 1 to 2 at a time. As soon as we're in that warehouse, we're able to pump those babies out. So we're going to have quite a bit more coming out on those. And they're at $1,500 right now while they're still in the prototype phase. Once we get it going, we're probably going to bump the price back up a little bit, especially when we get it to a shippable level and a full kit. It'll have to be more expensive for us to keep it working. But for now, we're doing it at $1,500 while it's still prototyping. is so, but the plans are still coming. But like guys, the warehouse is obviously we're not planning on doing the warehouse this early, and so it is obviously putting everything kind of on the back burner because fresh mushrooms are 85% of my income, and I've got to expand that. So, but I'm still going to keep giving you guys good information. Going to keep bringing everything I can to you guys. In fact, I'm just going to be taking while we're working tomorrow. I'm probably just going to go take a time lapse or do some video work with the tripod and everything else. Robin did some video work today. I'm going to make this build out as documented as possible, so that way, if you guys ever grow to the point that you get to where you can't get any more out of your basement, you want to grow, you've got a good platform to watch, or you can even watch me fail spectacularly at a scale up, or hopefully succeed. I've kept LC stirring for days and sometimes on high. They're all super vigorous and grow really well. They seem to like the extra air movement. That's been my experience so far. I haven't come across anything that really just doesn't like anything like wine cap. Wine cap grows amazing in liquid culture. So with it just being beat constantly. The T5 lights you use in the fruiting rooms, are they grow lights or standard bulbs? 65. So they are Hydro Farm grow lights. They are T5s. They are 6,500 Kelvin. I don't remember the lumens. My co-geo here. Good stuff. Keep doing this. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. No one says, Ocean Air, do you have an Instagram? Myco Mama, who won it? All right. So since somebody's asked, he's not on here yet that I've seen. Maybe he's on further down. But actually, Dune 1000 Nobleman ended up winning. So I've actually written a comment to him. Hopefully he's going to email me and get back to me. And he's got a couple days to respond before we go to the next random person. So hopefully hopefully he gets back to me quick. He's on the chats a lot of times. Let's see. Okay. I got your email, man. The guy that was talking to me earlier. Yeah, that goes out Monday. Grain spawn is done too. Grain spawn is done too. Are you asking if your grain spawn order is done too? It's made up. I'd have to go downstairs and check it to see if it's grown in. Chuck from Oregon, how much water do you add to your pellets? Are you Chuck from Oregon? I 60% hydration. So 2.5 pounds hardwood fuel pellets, 2.5 pounds soybean hull pellets, 7 pounds water. Lol, he said hardwood. Jason. PBS, say hi to the hot red. Oh my gosh. The hot redhead. Thanks, you're welcome. I will tell her you said hello. She'll probably roll her eyes. Jeffrey, I'm assuming you sell lion's mane on your site, but do you sell turkey tail? Also, how much for a syringe? So all of our syringes are $20, except for any of our original strains, they're $30. If you get the bulk kit, that takes the price down by $5 or more per syringe, but you have to get 9 of them to do it. I don't sell lion's mane yet. I made up lion's mane liquid culture yesterday. So it'll be going up in 4 or 5 days on the website. And then I'm doing a turkey tail, reishi, agarikon, chaga, cordyceps, and a couple other medicinal syringes that will be in a medicinal pack, like a medicinal mushrooms pack. When I was a mushroom, I worked with rubber gets all the time. All right. Don't know what you mean. For you electric, they have liquid electric tape, and also for you electric, they have a liquid electric tape, and also at the Autoport store, they have a spray for your alternator. If you go in water, it will help on your plugs. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, well, wait a minute. I know like plug cleaner and stuff. I'm not sure what you mean, Robert. Again, sorry, bud. You're very welcome, Slog. Michael Mama says, congrats, Dune. Maybe he'll get on here and he'll see this later. Failing isn't an option. I agree, Jason. It's not an option. We're going to be just fine. No Cap Hat says, congrats, dude. Woohoo! Good day from Australia. Made it in time today. Welcome, Campbell. I did it a little later today. I was hoping that would help some people who don't normally get to the chat, right? Milan says, hey, thanks for all the great info. I was wondering if you could mention your LC shaking schedule stir times for best mycelium growth. Thanks again. So just whenever I go downstairs to do my daily checks, I've got 4 stir plates. I put a jar on each. Take the ones that we've been stirring all night off, stir them for a few minutes, go check on some stuff, come back, and I don't have a schedule. I just do it till I feel like stopping. On a day when I'm in a hurry, they get less stirred, and on a day when I'm down there working in the lab, they get stirred for, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes each. How good is a still air box? It is fantastic to get started, and it is fantastic for working with things that you don't want blowing up and blowing all over your lab, like mold spores and the like. It was Paul Revere by the Beastie Boys. The first word was yeah, boy, but I like Lil Billy or Big John, one of those rappers. He go okay. I should have known that, man. I love the Beastie Boys. I was listening to them yesterday. Metal lids. What are you using for air exchange? Syringe filters. Just little 0.22 UM. It's not, I don't remember what that stands for. Micron or whatever. Little syringe filters. I'd have to look. I get them from Shroom Supply a lot of times. I buy them in bulk a lot now, but my first ones I got and made were from Shroom Supply, and I actually just got an order in because you guys use my code so much with Ryan over at Shroom Supply. He gave me a gift certificate. So I went over there and I just bought some more stuff. So thank you guys so much for using that code so much that he even sent a note like, my goodness, we have noticed a ton of people using this code. So thank you guys for that, because I don't get any kickback. So that's the first kickback I've ever gotten from them. So thank you all so much for that. Like, you just basically dogpiled him until he gave me a kickback. I love it. But be nice to Ryan. He's awesome. All right. Question on rice hulls versus soybean hulls for sawdust substrate is more easily accessible at local brewery store. Try it. Get back to me. Let me know how it works. I would love to know that answer. Nobody has answered me that for me yet. Do you ship culture plates to Europe? If not, any plans on doing it soon? I don't currently do it. I would love to. I have not gotten there yet. I've talked to a few people via email about it. It looks like I can do it, but it's number one, I won't make any money off of it really because of fees and tariffs and all that kind of stuff. So I would still do it even if I broke even, but and I could pay my people to continue working, then I would do it. But I'm not there yet. I'm just not there yet, Tony. One day I will be, but I'm not there yet. In fact, one day I'd love to tour Europe and go collect strains and share strains and go see a lot of the sites, particularly Northern Europe. Man, I love Northern Europe. Like, I like the idea of Northern Europe. I would love to go Northern Germany, the Scandinavian countries. Love to go to Northern France, like Normandy. And I would love to especially see Scotland and Ireland, but in particular the land on either side of Hadrian's Wall there. So, and when I do that, maybe it'll be as an investigation to getting in and exporting to Europe. You're all going to be doing great. Love the look of the new space. Thank you, Campbell. I appreciate it. It's cool. Old 1958 is when it's an old farmers co-op built in 1958, and it's just so cool to me. Man, it's got so much history, that building. So that Medicine Man, hey, I am going to be using a still air box myself. If you do it right, it can work really, really good. I love them. I still have the ability to make a still air box and use it very easily here where I'm at. Like I said, I don't tend to use one now because even my stuff that I think is dangerous, I do it near the door, so it just gets blown out of my lab. But your last Q&A, you mentioned dry processing blocks. Could you expand on that? Is there an increased contamination by adding the water later? Cameron, I don't remember that. What do you mean by dry processing blocks? I don't remember that at all. For LC jars, do you use stir bars or something else? I use stir bars. Yeah, I'm trying to standardize on them. When I first started buying them, I bought them all over the place. I bought multi-packs that had a bunch of different sizes. I hate those. So I've started buying like single size constantly because it will stir consistently from plate to plate to plate. So I definitely like standardization. Standardization is one of my favorite things in the world. Oh, come on now. You'll succeed, man. I believe in y'all there. Thank you, Chip. I know that we're going to succeed. I wouldn't do this if I didn't think that we were going to succeed with flying colors. You know, there's just always that little tickle and nervousness. All right. Oh, yeah. How is everyone? I was being silly at first. I was late. No worries, Robert. I'm doing great, man. Tired, but invigorated. Oceanair, what gauge needle are you using for the needle biopsy LC Tech? Can they get enough? I think it's a 16 gauge. It's the one I use for everything. So if you can get them from Shroom Supply, then that's the easiest way to go. Was your HEPA still air box a big improvement over standard still air box? I'm starting to build one now with nice 16 by 19 HEPA filter. It definitely was. You have to really be careful though, because it was blowing in air and the air was I think it was bouncing around before it got out to the glove holes. So the good news is all that air bouncing around is clean. The bad news is that when you're working with moldy stuff, you know, you would have a problem. Like if you're trying to clean up a dish from mold, that air would be all kinds of turbulent. So what I found was best was to take my moldy dish and set it out. So you've got your still air box right here. And then I would, like right here, let's say, and here's the still air box. There we go. Now you guys can see. And my hands are going in right here and here. I would put the moldy dish right here. And then I would flame. I had a flame sitting out over here, and I would flame sterilize outside the glove box. And then I would flame sterilize my scalpel. I go in, cool it in through the armhole into the dish I was transferring to. Come out here, open up my dish, very carefully take out my section of clean mycelium, the cleanest I could find, and then taking that and then going back into the clean air stream and transferring it that way. I found that worked really, really well. Yeah. I thought it was a much better box than my still air box, but the still air box was better than open air transfer for the most part. I can catch you during your live. I'm very happy you're late. Well, you're very welcome. I'm glad that you got on here too. Similar question about importing to Australia. There's not any great base strains here. I'm sure we're willing to pay a premium for your awesome strains. Well, so that's actually an interesting idea to do international and then charge a premium for it, since I get so many questions. I hate to be so mercenary about it, but it would make it a little bit easier on me to consider that. If I knew that there was a way for me to make a little bit of money and not just be spinning my wheels, or paddling water or whatever. Moogie's Retirement Haven. Interesting name. At the new location, what will you do with all your spent blocks to dispose of them? So right now, they're going to go back in my pickup, and they'll go get dumped wherever they get dumped, with garden space or composting or whatever. But as we go on, right now I'm looking for a dump trailer. The dump trailer will go in the Farmer Co-op's old corn crib area, and then we'll just walk over there with our old blocks, cut the plastic off, dump the leftover substrate into the dump trailer, and then I'll be able to take it to a spot to compost it, potentially on some family land. Potentially, I might go through some home and garden centers, or maybe we'll offer a waiting list where farmers can sign up to have loads dropped off at their farms, and then they can do with it whatever they want. Actually, there was a garden center that was willing to come and get them and park a dump trailer here. So that might be a good way to go. They just didn't want to deal with the plastic, but if we can just cut the plastic and drop it in there, that might be the best way to go. I forgot about them. The spray is for mud riders. It's for automotive, but it works anywhere on electric stuff. Okay, I don't know anything about automotive stuff. Which is funny because my dad made me buy a totaled car, buy an engine, buy a transmission, get some body work done, but then we did all of the engine rebuild and transmission and all that stuff, and I don't know why. I just never enjoyed working on cars, even back then. I did enjoy spending the time with my dad, and I have fond memories of my dad and I working on the car, but it was because I was with my dad, not because I enjoyed the car. I enjoyed the car, but not because I enjoyed the actual working on the car. There we go. Like I said, guys, tired. Spin blocks are composted or sold for compost. This is what Jason said. Can I get rid of these hiccups? Yes, I know if it's fish, but it's still been a big issue for him. It has always been a big issue. That's true. Scotland, Kev Baker's show, a shameless plug, always kind of fun, but always fun. So are you Kev Baker? What's the Kev Baker show? A wizard is never late. He always arrives on time. That's what it is. Yes, Jason, I agree. Yagdersill, welcome to the chat. Hey there, Andrew. How you doing? I made LC jars last night. Forgot to put stir bars in. Didn't have enough at the moment anyways. Can I sterilize again for 20 minutes with no adverse effects? I've never tried it. I've always just poured it out because liquid culture mix is so cheap. Let's see. I don't know. I really don't know if it would be a problem. So what I would do is take, like, if you've got 4 jars, for instance, take 2, dump them out, restart them. Take 2 and try it and see. I mean, heck, if you want to take all 4 and try it and see, and you'll know in a few days. It won't take any amount of time. So that might be. So caramelization is something that is what the concern would be. And the problem is that I cook my substrate and my grain and my agar and everything else to the point past caramelization. It has never seemed to affect mushrooms. We have talked to many mushroom growers who have done side-by-side comparisons, and they have no problem with it. But then there are a few who say that they have an issue with it, and those few are not always the ones that I would trust. So, can you imagine? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed something. Woot! Amazon Prime rocks. My lights and temperature probe stuff just now arrived. Congratulations, Jeff. That's awesome. Like right now during the live stream, because that would be awesome timing. They Amazon Prime stuff does rock. I bought 2 more serve plates the other day. I bought them at 11 o'clock at night, and I had them by 10 a.m. the next day. Wasn't even 2-day shipping. It was insane. So, Robert Charles says, "Can you imagine if the warehouse walls could talk? The stories they could tell from 70 years." I know, man. I got to think about that. My grandfather, lived in that town, worked in that town. I know he eventually, thanks whoever, if it's fish, thanks Jason. Somebody telling me to shave this glorious mane off my face. Anyways, yeah, Robert Charles, I agree, man. It's like the amount of, like, you can just see the wear of traffic and hands like running over surfaces, and it like, even though there have been updates, like, you can just see it everywhere. It's amazing. There's still an old belt-driven water pump in the basement. There's a belt-driven fan at the top that we got to figure out how to get to work. So, yeah, it's crazy. I love it. There's my baby. I just said, "There's my baby." Heard you talking over there. It's cool. No worries. I heard a caramelization occurs. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I covered the caramelization stuff. But yeah, you got it. I'll try it and see. Man, Jagger, still don't try it and see. And then, I'll never mind. I was just about to get on to you for it, but you said, well, I'll try it and let you know. It's the stuff from Shroom Supply. Okay. Yes, let me know. Like, that's the biggest thing I want. Like, I would love that you guys are constantly making me better at what I'm doing. Like, this is amazing stuff that offered you all some information, and now like, and I get like, what? Right now we got 54 people on here, so I gave you guys some information for sure, but I've got 54 people coming back at me, making me better. Like this is amazing. I appreciate this, guys. You guys rock. Jerome Calderon said not what? What am I missing? Yes, now during the live stream. That's cool, Jeff, man. That's cool. We're talking mushrooms. I mean, it helps that you're filling your life with mushroom things, that these mushroom coincidences happen, but I like it. Oh, Jerome says, boom, Jason Hammers. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you were talking about not with that. I didn't see his second comment. I've got no idea what he said, but it's probably not worth saying anyways. Do you think it would be a good idea to reuse the Petri dish? It's more about the environment than money. So what's more about the environment than money? The fact that you want to reuse the Petri dish? Use glass ones. You know, especially at the hobbyist level, it makes perfect sense to use glass ones. I have glass ones. It's the first dishes I used. In college, I used glass for the longest time. So that's the way, use glass. But when you're mass producing stuff, man, the ease, the convenience, and the ability to maximize your workload, not to mention that if you think that running a dishwasher or soap or, the manufacturing of soap, the manufacturing of the energy for hot water, the etc., is actually better for the environment than some plastic dishes, pull up some numbers and look, how much that stuff turns out to be. Like how much pollution you're actually doing running a dishwasher or even a sink full of dishes. The beard makes you stronger. Never shave. The story of Samson tells us, never let a woman talk you into shaving your beard or cutting your hair. How long can you store liquid culture in the refrigerator? So I've done it for about 6 months or so and never had a problem. I've not tried any that was older than that before, but I'm sure that certain strains could go on for a very long time. Certain strains could probably freeze solid. I've had people receive packages from me in which the liquid culture was frozen solid. This was when I first started doing the liquid culture over this winter. And yeah, it just thawed out and started growing more. So they didn't really have any problems. I just now, as you're recording, received my light stuff, heat lights, regular lights, Inkbird temperature controllers, stick-on zippers, etc. That's awesome, man. I'm glad that. So you're getting all kinds of good stuff. That's like Christmas and Thanksgiving all rolled into one. I'm looking at converting our rented dirt floor basement. What are the good ways to give a big sterilized and clean before I hang up plastic rooms? Just tons of bleach. I mean, you're never going to be able to sterilize dirt and without cooking it. And you're not I don't think bleach would work. The biggest thing I would do really is just if your dirt floor in your basement, put plastic down. Cover up the dirt where you're not going to be walking around in the dirt. You don't want to be tracking the dirt into your room or anything. But yeah, just put plastic down as a floor. You should be pretty good there. Hey guys, can you turn that sound off or leave the room?
Yes.
Okay. Yes is what I wanted. Thank you. I'm unboxing as you speak with knife in hand. Be careful with that knife in hand. And don't be watching this while you're cutting. Just listen. But congratulations on the stuff, man. That'd be cool. I am in no rush on the grain spawn. Sleazy contractor thief. I'll email about you. What's going on? Please do, Michael Mama. What's going on? Andrej says, have you been ever thinking about building a greenhouse where you'd be blowing your excessive CO2 and heat, at least from your incubation room? We have. We did it at once. Our back porch, we turn into a greenhouse almost every winter. We didn't do it this last winter, but we normally do. It's a very mild winter this winter. But, in fact, my fish tanks didn't even freeze over, I don't think once. Maybe once. But that's it. And we have thought about doing it, and we did it. And it is terrible. The oyster mushroom spores are terrible for the plants. So, not really all that great to do unless you have a way of removing I don't know how you would remove the spores from the CO2, but you can remove the heat at least and get that. Wish we could upload pictures on here. All you guys need to see my haul. I spent like $1,000 on equipment, lol. Well, Jeffrey, man, hopefully you got a Instagram or something like that you can post that on and then tag us in. That'd be cool. I'd love to see your haul, man. I love those days. I don't know what it is. I'll get a load of soybean hulls in, and it'll be like I'll feel wealthier than if I had all the money in my pocket that bought those soybean hulls, which I know doesn't make any logical sense, but it feels really good. I don't know what it is. There's something about having material goods sitting in front of you. Our lion's mane and comb tooth both grow with a pinkish color, rarely turn pure white. Any ideas why? Usually cool weather. The colder it gets, the more pink they become typically. And they will whiten up if you let them. If you're not getting to the white stage, you probably have something wrong with your humidity or your fresh air. But usually, my comb tooth strain is a very pink strain and stays pink for a very long time and only turns white where it tooths out. What do you think of researching and developing cellophane for grow bags? Stamus mentioned it in his GGMM book. I think it'd be great if somebody did it. I don't know how it would work. I don't know really anything about it. Like how, I don't know material science very well. And so it would be a very interesting thing to get into and find. I would love to find an actual compostable mushroom bag that held up. The problem is that all the bags that we have currently on the market are oxo-degradable, not biodegradable. And not only that, but they tend to turn brittle very quickly while you're still wanting to work with them. So I'm getting tired of my sinuses. They're starting to bother me. No, Jason's are bothering him like the moment we start leaving the warehouse. Hi, by the way, Injum. Yeah, going to use plastic on the floor. Going to have to use positive pressure to keep dust out of the environment. Yeah, that's pretty much a must. It's you. This thing is so very interesting. This hobby, this lifestyle. I don't know what you would call this, but like it's very interesting in how much we have to work with not ideal spaces. And it's kind of neat, like to be able to do so. Like, how do I keep myself healthy with something that's potentially dangerous to my health, while at the same time growing something that can be potentially dangerous to my health, but is good for me when ingested? And then how do I grow that thing and keep it sterile without causing any damage to my house or anything else? Like, it's a really fun. It will keep you busy for a long time, and it is a wonderful problem. So if you like problem solving, it's a wonderful place to be. Blue Mushrooms lids. You mentioned that you dispose of your lids. Do you dispose of the syringe filter as well? Yes. Yeah, you dispose just the whole lid, and usually it's whenever they get rusty. I mean, I might use them one more time depending on how much use they got. I don't just make a lid, put it on, and then throw it away when I pour the culture out because the culture was contaminated and I never took a syringe out. Like that lid's basically brand new still. So, can you speak on any advantages to cloning on agar over cloning on LC with a needle biopsy? Secretary comes to mind, but maybe you can elaborate further. Thank you. So the advantage that I see is speed, right? Like you go from it's speed, and I can take a clone with an LC, like with a needle using liquid culture without ever having a HEPA filter or anything else. I can wipe my mushroom down with alcohol and open it up, stab a piece, pull it out, inject it. And I might have a higher rate of contamination than I would if I had a flow hood. But if I can't spend $1,000 on a flow hood or a few $100 or whatever, which, by the way, a lot of these flow hoods that people get good deals on are not as good as they might lead you on to believe. You know, there's a lot of things that go into a flow hood. It's not just a fan blowing air through a filter. There's a lot more to it than that. It's about airflow, air rate, cubic foot per minute, your plenum, everything goes into it big time. So, you know, we've got that going for us. So there's a lot to figure out. That's why I usually just trust guys like Paul Stamets who have been building flow hoods for a long time that work in this hobby, lifestyle, whatever, for tens of years now. He's been doing it for decades. So that's the one place where he excels, and he's expensive, but it's an expertise thing. I have seen some compostable plastic bags, but I doubt they are autoclavable. You're right. That's my problem that I'm finding is that the ones that are autoclavable are oxo-degradable, not biodegradable. So I wish that there was a better option. I don't like the plastic waste. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm just like, whatever, screw the planet. But, there's a lot of things around it, and there's a lot of people that like plastic hate, not even realizing that they're using electricity to wash stuff. They're using electricity to generate heat, to make hot water. They're using electricity to make soap. They're using oil to make soap. They're using petroleum to, blah. Like, it's insane the amount of pollution that washing dishes creates. And it's not like it's great for the environment. Not to mention, not triglycerin. They put it in toothpaste, at least they used to. It's really terrible for the environment. It gets everywhere from, like, I don't know. I've had people were telling me about it recently, and it's in everything from soaps, and it's especially in antibacterial soaps and that kind of thing. But it's terrible for the environment. It gets in there, and it's accumulative. It's, it definitely is not great. I need to buy a pressure cooker. Do you think I should get the biggest, most expensive All-American, or will the step lower be okay for the small grower? Will the step lower in price or size, do you mean? If you can buy the American 75X, buy the All-American 75X. If you can buy the 940, buy the 940. If you can't buy either one of those, buy a Presto. So that's, the Prestos have been really, really good to me. They've brought me up to this point, so... Sarah Collins, thank you for your down-to-earth personality and wealth of knowledge. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I like that people think I have a wealth of knowledge. That's nice. Tell me more good things about me. What about ozone generator to sterilize air for calculated time? I don't know anything about the effectiveness of this and how long you would have to do or anything else. I know that people talk about it. It's not something I have a lot of experience with, and so I can't really comment and give you a good sound opinion on it. I will eventually look into it one day and see if I can't get something. So for people, so much dust in the new warehouse. Yeah, it is. Guys, it was built in 1958, and it looks like they've not ever cleaned the floor since. It is so dusty. The grime, it is just grimy, but pressure washer is getting a lot of it up. So Campbell Walker says, "A Deepness in the Sky arrived yesterday." Werner, thanks for the recommendation. Man, you are very welcome. I hope you enjoy it. I actually, if you want to, you and I can read it together. I'm about to start rereading this book now. So tonight, when I'm off the live stream and am, just kind of hanging out for the evening, I will be starting that book. So with my nightly cigar I have before I go to bed. So what you recommend for a perfect flow hood filter? So I don't know about perfect. There's no perfect because the price is certainly not perfect. I bought mine from Paul Stamets. I think it's great. Going forward, I'm probably just going to have Ben build. I bought one of Eric Myers's ones, and then I saw that there's some modification. It's a good one. You're going to need some modifications for it to really be workable. But it's also about $1,000 for the size I wanted. And when I ordered it through Amazon, because Eric doesn't have any right now, Amazon said it would be a month or two before they could get them to me. And I thought, I'm not going to sit here with $1,000 tied up waiting for them to decide if they're going to have what I want or not. And it's not even the one I want exactly. I'll probably just go to Paul Stamets again and pay. I have a shipping dock now, which means my shipping bill is going to be next to nothing from him. So that's probably what I'm going to do now. Are blue oyster a stabilized subspecies? As in, if I experiment with spores, will I get more blue oyster strains, or I might get anything since Pleurotus austratus? All right, yeah, so I'll give that up. Blue oyster was my first mushroom I started breeding with because the blue is easy to track. So my first cross ever was a blue oyster and an elm oyster. And If you start playing with blue oyster genetics, you will see every shade of blue you have ever seen your entire life and then some. And it is a beautiful, wondrous thing. So there's a lot of stuff. Oh, guys, hey, I got a couple super chats in, looks like. $2 one. It won't let me read the $2 one. Sorry, Lee. I don't know what the $2 one was, man. Nothing happened. Oh, there we go. $5 one. Lee. Okay. I'm not sure what happened there, but can you use a clean room ceiling ULPA FFU as a horizontal flow hood? You can. That's kind of what I'm talking about. This is the Eric Myers one. His are actually the ceiling units, and you can use them. And Eric uses them with great results. They're not bad ones at all. It's just they're almost as much as the more expensive ones, and so I'm just going to go with the more expensive one that I know works. Because the one thing I will not skimp on in an op is your HEPA filter. That is probably your most important piece of equipment besides your sterilizer. So, if the sterilizer is the heart of an operation, your HEPA filter is the lungs. I mean, which one's more important, your lungs or your heart? So, on both of those, but the difference is that much like the human heart, you can take some shortcuts when designing that thing. So, Lee, I hope that answers your question, man. If it doesn't, let me know, and I will absolutely spend more time answering it for you. So, let's see. Yeah, you're still going back to your question about the blue oyster. Yes, blue oyster crosses with elm oyster, which I talked to a guy and he's like, yeah, that just absolutely proves that the elm oyster is obviously not anything to do with elm. It is literally just an elm-like oyster. So I have bred that one, and little secret, guys, from the breeding program, elm oyster crosses make amazing stems. They just make the most amazing fluffy stems constantly. So yeah, try it out. See what happens. And I say this knowing that I have 70 new elm cross strains being going through commercial testing right now. So, I've done a lot of cool stuff with it, and you guys will be seeing that very soon. So I hope to show you all those crosses, Yggdrasil. One of them I call Cool Touch, and it is a white oyster with a blue stripe. And I'm hoping it continues to breed true. I'm testing it for a few generations, and then if it does, we will release it on the website in the form of liquid culture. Hi, brother. I finally got my Air Science flow hood and did my first. So I've heard those guys are good. I would be very interested in looking at those. And did my first batch of agar plates last night. How many days does it usually take to know if they were done correctly? Also, do you recommend the Pyrex plates? I use plastic Petri dishes, just pre-sterilized dishes. I get them from Fisher Scientific, and I buy their brand. The dishes, like the time that you'll know if you did it right. Usually when you've got something that's running pretty quick, you'll see it the very next day that it'll start to grow out. If you're talking about like contamination wise, 3, 4, 5 days. It depends on the type of contamination. And what's going to really happen is you'll start to develop an eye where you'll see contamination before you can plainly see contamination. So my best bet for you is to contaminate stuff. Just keep working, keep fighting that contamination, and eventually you will learn to recognize that stuff before it even shows its ugly head for real, and you'll be able to transfer away from it till you get something clean. So, also, do you the Pyrex? Yeah, I've already answered that. Since there are so many in Pleurotus. Oh, gotcha. That was part of your earlier question. Robert Charles, it's really not fair. The manufacturing end won't tell people about pollution like electric cars. Sure, the end product is better, but it takes more fuel to get the same mile. Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's one of the things that like a lot of people don't get to see the behind the scenes part. They just see whatever's in front of them. So the plastic is something that's in front of them because it's the end user packaging. What they don't see is the big plastic mat in the ocean is shrinking. There's a plasticivore bacteria that they think has evolved specifically there to eat it, and it is being dissolved. And they think that is why it is shrinking at a faster and faster pace. And that didn't it wasn't always shrinking. It was, in fact, growing. And they tested, like, oh, how much has it grown this time? And it started shrinking. And they were like, holy crap, you know? So it really kind of kills some of the narratives that you hear a lot of times that, I don't know, you know, the whole idea humans are a plague kind of thing. I've never liked that kind of talk. Humans are good and bad, just like anything else. And it's just all about where we're applied. For a new small-scale grower, do you think a flow hood or at the very least a still air box is necessary? I did open air transfers in the beginning. Just know that for a beginner, I don't think any lab work is appropriate. I think that you should be buying blocks and fruiting the mushrooms and then working backwards into lab stuff. However, in fact, you should go to my blog post called The Importance of Working Backwards on mossycreekmushrooms.com, and then also read Mycological Warfare Part 1 and Part 2, and then maybe Why Straw is Satan's Substrate, and that's a pretty good one too. But that said, for a new person to lab work, I would say that I would go open air transfers to a still air box, and then I would go to a flow hood once you've gotten to that point. And there's a lot of reasons for this. I started off with open air transfers in college and worked through there. It will tell you how you're doing everything wrong. And that's the best thing that will happen to you, is for you to constantly fail at lab work until you get those small successes. But this is also why I tell people to work backwards. You know, if you're the kind of person that needs a lot of successes early on, like most people, like myself, it is better to start in a place where it's easy to get those successes and then work your way backwards into the harder stuff, because you already know you're good at this end. Just keep working back. It just gets a slightly harder each step. So that's what I would do. That's what I suggest to people now, you know, even during consults. So you're welcome, Anjum. What you talking about? I don't know, Kilta. Scored an All-American 25X for free. Wondering how much you can pack one of these. Can bags touch the sides and lid? Yeah, I pack my stuff tight. It's just really, you want to make sure you got enough water to cook and that you're not got the heat on to where something's hissing. Which the 25X, that's one of the electric ones. So you shouldn't have any water loss. So you shouldn't really have to have much water in there at all. Robert Charles said Floridine. What's up, Mingo? Welcome to the chat. Heavenly. I like that name so much. Would you recommend UV cabinets for Pyrex plates? Not sure if I would use ozone in the same area as cultures or grows. I do not like UV. I feel like UV is more dangerous to you than it is effective against germs. So I've seen some people get injured by using UV improperly. So do they make a giant ass Presto like they do the biggest, or one step lower in size, All-American? I want a big one, but save as much money as possible. So Prestos are 23 quarts, I think, is the biggest that I've found. And honestly, I can fit just as much in my 23 quart Presto as I can in my 75X All-American, mainly because the insert in the All-American isn't much bigger than the 23 quart. So, and it's a price difference of like $100 as opposed to $1,000 for the 75X. Ocean Air, do you reuse needles and syringes, like clean them in the PC? That's Jerome asking. Robert, go check your yard sales and estate sales for pressure cookers. You can get good ones for $5 or $10 most times. I have some extra ones that are stovetop kind. Jerome says, why? I missed that question. Sorry, Jerome, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. You're going to update me again. What's up, Andrew, Paul, and Vale? Hey, Paul, what's going on? I'm doing great. How are you doing? It feels like it's been forever since I've heard from you. I mean, I know we were all talking on text the other day, but that's cool. It's cool that you managed to get on, dude. Thanks for popping in. I miss coming out. I'm going to have to come back out there this year. In fact, we talked to a buddy out there about coming back out there and staying again. So I'm not sure when that was. I'll have to look at the schedule again. But it'd be nice to go. Samantha Paul reached out. Yeah. Hey. After you put the grain spawn in your substrate, how many days before it fruits? 21 days for most oyster strains. That is not, give it or take a few days. Check a cleaner called B52 for the pressure washer. Just put it in your sprayer and go full strength before you wash it. Okay, I'll check that out. My dad's got some cleaner that he really likes in that's his pressure washer in the video. And we have our little green one, but the gas one, if you were watching my Instagram. So that's we've been using whatever cleaner he's got, and man, we ripped up some grease out of that floor for sure. Shannon, for the float question, buy a small HEPA filter first. Use a med cardboard box and line the inside with plastic. Then make a hole for the filter, and you can make a sterilized space with alcohol. That's not a bad idea, actually. That's a pretty neat little. It's a pretty neat little idea. I like that. I wouldn't want that to be my permanent setup, but it would be a good solution to get me going to the next point. The next thing I was doing. I like that. As long as you are here, I'm gonna keep asking. Lo, can you speak pin sets and initiating fruit when and how? What are you doing to the bag on the fruit block? Okay. As long as you are here, I'm gonna keep asking. Lo, can you speak pin? So you're asking me if I can talk about pin sets and initiating fruit. When and how, and what am I doing to the bag on the fruit block? Okay, so with oyster mushrooms, when you're talking pin sets, the biggest thing is when the block turns white, we want to put it in the grow room. I don't want to wait until it's pinning in the bag. Right now, the employees line it up on a cart. They hand sanitize the sides of the bags or wipe it down with isopropyl. They cut a small square, about 1 inch by 1 inch, and then whenever they grab the block, they grab the top, press the air out, and by wrapping the flap down around, and then placing it on the shelf with the square facing out into the aisle, and the top of the bag with all the air squeezed out underneath the block. And then usually you should see pins within about 7 days, and you should be picking mushrooms in about 10 to 12, and in about 2 weeks in the grow room, sometimes 20 days, something like that, you should have your second flush, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's hardly any other thing going on with it. So let's see. Paul at Boomer's Farm says, I know people ask about consultations. I have to say Andrew and Ben changed my game. Make this investment. I am more efficient and producing more because of them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, man, for saying that. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that you liked it. Honestly, your consult was one of the more unique ones I've ever been to. And you're one of the more unique people I've ever met on a consult job. And I liked it. Man, I flipping loved it. But thank you for saying such kind words to me, man. What? Hey, Jason, we've got a troll that I'm having my computer is lagging. I'm having a hard time cutting down. Put user in time out. Cool. I don't know if it worked. What is Master? Do you have a video on it? You mean Master's Mix? Master's Mix is 50-50 soybean hull pellets and hardwood fuel pellets, and then hydrated to whatever your choice of hydration level is. Like we do 60%, but most people I know do 50%. Total Chicken Pie Soup says, awesome beard. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've worked on it. What is the breeding program? The breeding program where I'm breeding oyster mushrooms and everything else. That's the breeding program. I am crossing different oyster mushroom strains, and I'm trying to create a large variety in phenotypes, meaning I'm trying to see different colors, shapes, textures, and get a good understanding of how plastic the genetics of oyster mushrooms are. And eventually I want to take that to more difficult mushrooms to breed, but I'm not there yet. Is rattlesnake venom still the way to go for breeding? That would not be for breeding. That would be for hybridization or genetic engineering, because what you're trying to do is dissolve the cell walls and then insert your DNA. So bacteria, you can be genetically engineered by placing basically DNA right there next to the bacteria, and it just sucks it up because their cell walls are so porous, we'll say. It's not exactly the right term. Plants and fungi, have strong cell walls that are sorry. They have strong cell walls that are hard to get the genetic information inside. And so it makes it more difficult. You have to find some way to strip that cell wall so that you can get in there. That's what the rattlesnake venom is for. Leon says, yep, the FFU response made sense. Thanks. I see them pop up on eBay for pretty good prices. Good, Lee. I'm glad that I was able to answer your question. You're very welcome, Heavenly. Will picking my bum cause... oh, man. I guess we got another one. Hi, Andy from the UK. Oh, you're from the UK. Are you Andy from the UK? Is that right? Or are you calling me Andy? Because I will be honest, Andy is my least favorite name on the version Andrew. Drew works. Or Andrew. Or you can call me Swamp Monster. Or Swampy. I don't care. I just don't like Andy very much. That's okay. Long-time listener, don't worry about it. Don't be sorry or anything like that. I'm just kind of screwing with you a little bit. Long-time listener, first-time poster. Loving the later stream. Other half says, this is becoming the soundtrack to my life. No, don't do that to her, man. Oh, don't do her. Don't make her listen to me and see me constantly. What's up, John? Simon says, so you have a question. Have you ever pre-poured glass petri dishes to sterilize after? Looking for another way to remove a vector from the opening to pour, only to close it. So I would do it, but only with like an All-American 75X, something that's an actual sterilizer, rather than just a pressure canner, if you know what I mean. So I would do it like if I had the ability to have a 75X in my lab and was able to go down there, turn it off, pull the insert out after it's cooled, and everything's right there in the HEPA flow air. So hope that answers your question. Holy wow, that's crazy. What is, Heavenly? A buddy got himself a Whisper Flow FFU, and he keeps saying he hasn't had contam on any of his pre-poured plates yet out of dozens of agar transfers. I'm waiting to see if he's just on a lucky streak. So he's probably not. He's probably getting pretty clean results. The biggest thing is that they're probably not – he might have gotten an ideal one, and then he may not have. And that's kind of my thing, is that it's kind of a crapshoot. However, plenty of people are having good results. Now, some of these HEPA filters are better for some types of contamination over others and are meant for slightly different tasks. And that he may have bought one that was overkill, or more likely he bought one that was slightly underkill, like one that, doesn't do viruses or something like that. So, and maybe it's just going to be a while before one of his mushroom strains gets a virus or whatnot. Because what is it? Viruses can be stopped with 0.3 micron filtration, 0.2, or is it 0.03? I can't even remember. My HEPA filter, I don't even know if I don't think it's rated for viruses. Hey, it's me, the salty one. What's up, Saltine? Hey, I think Samantha emailed you last night, or was writing one, or reading an email from you or something. She mentioned your name last night. Something about a logo. John Grady says, syringes tend to warp over time, especially if you don't lay them horizontally in the PC. So that was kind of my thought, is that they don't seem to work. They're also so cheap, the disposable ones, that I would just keep going with those. So much fun playing with agar, though. Also, buying blocks at $20 each here means you're relying on at least a third flush and no losses. So, Campbell, that's a very good point. A lot of people don't have access to my ideal of working backwards. And yet again, there's what we're talking about. Not everybody can work with the ideal. And I have an ideal, and that does not mean my ideal is correct across the board. I've done some liquid culture just stirring it by hand shaking the jar around pretty much every day, and sometimes I don't even do that. What are your thoughts on this? Do you have to make the stir plate? You do not have to make a stir plate. People run liquid culture all the time without anything other than like a little swish or hand swirl. In my experience, it grows much more vigorously, much faster, much thicker, and it's like it grows really, really thick and is able to be sucked up by a syringe much easier when you're working with the stir plates. Seeing some posts from supply vendors implementing coronavirus protocols for their lab and shipping workers. Is it something you think is important yet or not? So I'm enjoying the fact that everybody's being really concerned about the coronavirus. Being someone who struggles with immune stuff, particularly respiratory infections, ear, nose, and throat stuff, I really am enjoying the fact that people are having an overabundance of caution with this disease being particularly vicious towards what I'm weak towards. That said, I think that there is an overabundance of caution. And I'm not really against that. I'm just afraid. I shouldn't say afraid. I am concerned that the fear that a lot of this stuff is inducing is going to be worse than the virus actually is. Now, that said, I mean, a 3% death rate, was it like 2.9 or something like that? It's not small. So caution should be a thing to go for. So I don't know. It's going to be important to me in that I might be stuck with a single HEPA filter for a while until warmer weather hits and this virus kind of dies out. And so that means that I will tell you that it's affected my warehouse build. I called my suppliers, and because this is the first time I've ever ordered from them, I can't order because I have no order history. And they're only selling to people who have order history right now. I can't buy N95 masks for my employees. I can't buy gloves hardly at all. I had to go back to my old supplier for the gloves. Ended up paying $150 for 3 cases, but I have to have gloves. So it is what it is. I can't buy paper towels in my town. Thankfully, we've got toilet paper at both the warehouse and here already. But, once that runs out in a month or two, hopefully they've got it replaced. So it is definitely important to me in that it's affecting things. I don't feel qualified to say whether it's too much or too little. So if I could share something with you, check out Becoming a Supple Leopard by Kelly Starrett. It's a book, funny. So I actually know about the supple leopard, and I love that book. And I have read a large part of it. And I will tell you that when I get my deep tissue massages done, we do a lot of stretches and everything else. And used to be my arms could only go out to about here, which I know you can't really see, but it's like this right here is out to my sides. My arms could literally only go out to about here because I had such tight fascia. She said I've had some of the thickest fascia that she's ever felt. But doing stretches and stuff, I mean, I can get my arms way back behind me, and I can get down into squats. I didn't used to be able to do that. There's been a lot of stuff that regular stretching, eating proper foods for me is big. If I eat potatoes, it's like my tendons tighten up and my joints hurt and everything else, and I lose a lot of my ability to be flexible. But eating mainly fruits, vegetables, and meat, and very little in the way of carbohydrates. And when I do eat carbohydrates, trying to preference rice and corn instead of wheat or potatoes. I am finding that that supple leopard idea is kind of nice. And then after a massage, you feel slinky. Even as a fat guy, I can move well. So I love that book for sure. Thank you for suggesting it. Do you use the insert in your All-American or just pack on the top of the bottom grate? So yes, I use the inserts. Yes. When you harvest, do you clean up the sawdust that sometimes come off when you pick it? I do not. We put it in the box, sawdust and all. Guys, give me just a second. Just so I can keep this live stream going, I'm going to Flonase for a second, but I'm going to try to do it off screen so you're not seeing me stick something up my nose. So just a moment. All right. I'm going to sniffle for a little bit, and then I'll be able to talk much easier for a little bit. So when you harvest, do you clean up the sawdust? Oh, I already did that one. You all should definitely – oh, my gosh, I'm behind. You all should definitely come back out. More playtime this time. Sorry I forget to give Samantha props for all the help, too. You all are awesome. Yeah, Paul, absolutely. And I don't think Samantha was taking offense or anything. And Yeah, I think it would be nice to have more playtime, like go out there and stuff. But man, the hikes and stuff were amazing. We went up to those. I guess it was aspen, but we got to see all these fungal growths in the trees, man, that looked like chaga, but it wasn't chaga because it was on an aspen tree. So, Paul, I definitely plan on coming back out to you and visiting you again. Maybe not this year with the warehouse built, or maybe later on this year, before all the tourists and stuff start coming in. Can I have $20 to go to the market? Isaiah, I don't know how to get it to you, bud. If you can make it over to the house, I guess I'll give you $20 cash. I mean, probably not really, because I don't know what you're really using it for. How to cross strains of whatever mushrooms to make a new mushroom. The oyster mushrooms? Or what? And you're asking how to do it? So take a spore print. Take your inoculation loop, sterilize it. Scrape on your, cool it in the agar, scrape on one spore print, do a spore streak, and look up a video. Look up videos on YouTube on how to do spore streaks. Do a spore streak, sterilize again, cool again in the agar, scrape across the other spore print, and then let's say you went this way on a plate one time, you can go that way on another plate, and then wherever you see the junctions, always select for there, and you're more likely to have that. And that's the simplest way to do it. You have dilution methods. You have ways where you're growing out monokaryotes, which means that basically you're growing out half an organism. So you'll grow out mycelium that only has half the DNA. It can't produce a mushroom, but it just grows mycelium. And then you grow another one, and then you take a section out of each of those and you put it in a dish, and they grow together. And if you look up Fresh from the Farm fungi on Instagram, a guy named Gary's his first name. I think it's Gary. Please don't. If I get it wrong, don't tell him I got it wrong. But because I actually like this guy a lot. But he's doing a dilution method. Sydney Ober Singleton is where he got that from. But you basically take your spores, dip them in sterile water, dilute all the way down. And then you take those and spore streak those across a plate. And you're hoping for getting a single spore to land somewhere and grow. It's a very expensive way to grow. New strains are not necessarily cheap to grow out and test. And you never know really what you're getting. So I've been developing new methods that are cheaper and more effective at strain selection. But I'm not ready to share all that stuff yet, but I will be soon. Mango fever. Instead of throwing them out, I put a little peat moss casing on my milky mushroom agar culture plate. Do you think the little mushrooms will sprout? I don't know, but if they do, please tell me. I've got milky mushroom liquid culture right now, and I'm planning on trialing that one this summer as a good summertime alternative mushroom for people here who struggle, like in the southern United States, who struggle with oyster mushroom production. Because it's a good oyster mushroom alternative, I hear. Instead of beard breeding program. So, Andrej, I've actually taken plates before and scraped my beard across an agar dish and then sectored out, and I did grow an oyster mushroom from that one time. God. Can't believe I told you that. I never kept it. I never cloned it. I wish I had, because it would have been cool to have a beard oyster. Maybe I can do it again. Just go in the grow room, run around the grow room like this, like a whale with baleen, and then just go into the lab and rub some dishes. What are some of the ways you all have been using the extras or not so pretty mushrooms? You can only give so many away after a while, or can you turn these into more profit? Compost is a good way to go. At the very least, it's not waste. If you're talking not very pretty mushrooms, then, soups, dehydrate them, save them for powder them for seasoning for yourself, that kind of stuff. How do you do it when you want to crossbreed different strains of your already isolated strains? Can you even do that, or how does the crossbreeding work? Yeah, that's how. Yeah, I mean, you take a strain, grow out the mushrooms. Like I said, the spore prints. And my guess is you asked this question before I answered earlier, but you just, like I said, take your scrapings and scrape across a dish, and that's it. And if you're talking about isolated, you're talking about if you want to isolate mushrooms, or create new isolates, is what we call them. You take a spore print from a single mushroom, and then you just scrape that one and you don't do anything else. And that one, it will be a mushroom that was bred from itself, meaning if it has recessive traits, those recessive traits are more likely to come up. So that would be an isolate. You have isolated genetics out of this strain, right? Because it didn't collect everything from itself. Hi, guys. I hope so. Cover yourself from coronavirus. God bless you. Thank you, Abram, very much. Heavenly, your beard is glorious. You should be. Thank you. Campbell Walker. Simon, I've done it for the V small mason jars with pouring agar and sterilizing. It works. I tend to pour an SAB, leave for a week, and only resterilize if I see bacteria growing. So there you go, man. My name is Andrew, but they call me Andy, and we are both Irish, Scots-Irish, except I'm Irish or Scots-Irish Indian. My grandfather came from Tennessee, got caught moonshining and had to run away. That's funny. My family, East Tennessee, Scots-Irish, were moonshiners and shine runners. In fact, there's a Copperhead Road right down the road from me, and it goes to Knoxville. You guys might know that one. Ever get a fish-like smell from substrate? Yes, bacteria. How to detect in liquid culture? Typically, if your liquid culture looks really milky instead of looking clear with white fluffy bits in it, that would be bacterial. Hey, Swamp Monster, got my bags ordered and supplies for my master's mix. Thanks for input on who to get bags from. You're very welcome. You mentioned putting a marble in the liquid culture stirring. I don't think that I did, but maybe I did at some point, saying that other people do it. I don't like doing it that way. I prefer the stir bars with the stir plates, but the marbles can work. I just don't feel like they really churn stuff up well enough. What's up, Trippin' Billy? I just ordered some N95 mask. I got a supplier if you want me to link you one, bud. Yeah, man. Will you send that link to me at mosscreekmushrooms@gmail.com? I'd really appreciate it. Hey, bro, which HEPA filter is more useful? I don't know. The quick answer, Ibrahim, is that I don't know the number system, so I have to go look at the specs. Indeed, Campbell, I have had great success with pre-pouring agar using the baby food jars with modified lids too. I've recently tried 2-ounce jars, but made the new mistake of not foiling the lids in PC. Yeah, that'll do it, man. That'll do it for sure. You're very welcome, New Zealand. Trippin' Billy says, been doing this for almost 2 years, selling to chefs in my area, grow room of about 300 pounds a week. Would like to know if you're selling to grocery stores, how to move from a basement to a warehouse. So, Trippin', I'll tell you that the move from a basement to a warehouse is something I've not completed yet. So, I don't know that I can tell you good advice on that. Right now, we just saved up money and growing out of the basement, and then signed the lease on the warehouse. So I don't have grow rooms in it yet. I don't have incubation. The first thing that we have moved into it was pressure washers to clean the floor, and that's what we did today. So, and then Ben installed a water line so that we can have that ready. That's pretty much it. As far as you said that you've been doing this for almost 2 years and you're up to 300 pounds a week, that's a pretty good trajectory. It's way faster than back when I started. I'd say you're right on par, or maybe a little bit over par with what most people are doing right now. So, like, as far as their trajectories and their speeds, I am not selling to grocery stores. I sell entirely to restaurants. I stay away from grocery stores. Anyone who's going to require more regulation and more complexity on my part, I avoid it at all costs. We know that's cocaine. I took the from off the street. Yeah, now I'm like pumped. I've had allergies acting up recently. Everyone thinks it's corona. Everyone thinks it's corona. Yeah. It's hard, man. I got something stuck in my throat the other day and started coughing, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta stay away from this guy." Great to catch another live stream show. Keep up the chats; they're great. Thanks. Appreciate having you around, man. Campbell Walker, it is Gary. He's a fun guy. His breeding series at the moment is great. Looking forward to your series. Yeah, okay, so it is Gary, that Fresh from the Farm fun guy. He's a little awkward. I think that he knows that. He's kind of geeky dude, and I like geeky dudes. I like geeky dudes that make the world run and come up with some cool shit. So if you guys can, check out Fresh from the Farm Fungi on Instagram. I think maybe on Facebook too. And check out his breeding program, guys. He's doing really good work. Mine's more shotgun. His is more scientific. Can't find Iceberg anywhere. Any ideas of where to get some? Your farmer's co-op, Tractor Supply, Big Lots, Dollar General stores, all of those places still typically have it. B. Smith says Gary's a fun guy. I love his stuff. Oh, look at you guys making the same joke. Mango says, I'm doing an experiment with cow manure and cocoa peat 50-50 for milky mushroom and for the patty straw mushroom. I already proven milky mushroom can grow with wood pellets and casing. Yeah, absolutely, man, for sure. Don't be afraid of the coronavirus. It's just a media hype. Well, it is and it isn't. And I'm back. Welcome back, Jason. Though you've probably been back for minutes now. But welcome back to the chat. Have you ever used SDA? The low pH helps fight contaminants and grows really nice quality hyphae that can be stored longer. I have not. I actually don't even know what SDA is. So if you wouldn't mind putting in there what SDA is, let me know. I'd be interested in at least looking at it, trying it. Oh, yeah. Speaking of alcohol, is there a good substitute for now starting to run low? Dilute bleach wood to 10 parts H2O, denatured. So bleach, we use a 5% solution for most things. It's about a cap full to a gallon, something like that. I mean, somewhere around there. Pine Sol. If you've got Pine Sol, the original recipe, that is 99.99%. That's a sanitizing agent. Boiling, if you can boil things, that's pretty effective. Pressure cooking. If you're talking about area surface cleaner, you've got Pine Sol, you've got bleach, you've got alcohol, and I don't know that there are any others I would really rather work with. So honestly, if it came down to it, I would just work with little to no alcohol or sanitizing agents and just trust my pressure cooker and my HEPA filter more and use flame. So, my plastic dishes and stuff, I would just be really careful to keep dirty stuff further back in the stream and clean stuff further up and just work with that. Like ammonia and that kind of stuff, I wouldn't want to work with any of that. I wouldn't want to work anywhere near it. And so, that's where it is. Common flu kills more people than the coronavirus. The coronavirus recovery rate is 98%. It's actually closer to 97 than 98%. But the common flu is so that's actually a really misleading statement. The common flu kills more people than the coronavirus. Yes, it does. When you take total number to total number, it does kill more people. Now, the flu is more widespread and therefore is more dangerous in that regard, I guess. But the coronavirus recovery rate being roughly 97%, what's the flu recovery rate? It's even higher than that. So when you're saying that it kills more people, well, if the coronavirus has got the same widespreadness of the flu, then it would kill more people because its recovery rate would actually be, the flu recovery rate would actually be higher. So, for instance, if I look up what is the recovery rate of the flu? Oh, well, it helps if you type it in. What is the rate of recovery from influenza? Well, not that one because they're going to make me pay. Which one's not going to make me pay? Let's see. Really don't want to have to look stuff up on here. That's okay. I already know the statistics over in my head. Like I said, it's not quite at that percent. So flu mortality rate is as low as 0.01%. I know that that's pretty close to being correct. So Eric's right. The point is that they're both not dangerous. Well, I mean, 3 people out of 100 is not great. I mean, that's not really a great way to go. Dune! Just got in front of my computer and awesome news. Thanks, y'all. I'll email you shortly. Yeah, man. BossCreekMushrooms@gmail.com. Dune, you're the lucky winner. Dude, get with me, and I actually have an extra special surprise for you. So, thank you so much for participating, everyone. Sabered Augur, when I send my cultures to the international... Oh, Saberod Augur. When I send my cultures to the International Organisms Bank, they immediately transfer them to SDA. Okay. I hate that I just called it Augur, because I purposely call it Agar all the time. But that said, I'm going to put that right here on my computer. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to check that out, man. Really appreciate the New Zealand. Let's see. The point is that they're both not dangerous. Okay, we got that, and it's media hype. I disagree, Evenstar. It's being blown out of proportion, I think, but I absolutely disagree with you. Media hype to incite panic. SSS says. I mean, don't panic. Don't panic, and you cannot panic, and it still not be media hype. They just want people to take precaution. So, just take precautions. Especially when you're someone like me with autoimmune shit. That's actually 3%. I'm squarely in that 3%. So, let's get back to mushrooms. I agree, Yagdrasil. Thank you. I think the people that recover from the coronavirus become immune to it like the flu. I think you're probably right, Mango. I mean, that's actually very correct. I contest the results, Ruffro. Ruffro. Well, we'll have to figure out that, later on. I agree if it's Fish or Jason. It is a mushroom chat. Yagdrasil says, an auger is used to drill post holes. It's very true. An auger is a drill bit, right? So it's but agar is the stuff they derive from kelp to make or seaweed to make the gelatin. So I absolutely agree. Would you advise 5-pound bags for a starter or go directly to 12-pound bags? Might as well go to 12-pound bags. I think. Okay. So that's actually a more complex question than it seems. I would go to 12-pound bags because it's the biggest bang for your labor buck. But you can fit more 5-pound bags into a single pressure cooker run than you can 12-pound bags. And if you're new and you're wanting to try lots of little things in the beginning, let's say, so if you're wanting a quick path to commercial success, 12-pound bags. If you're wanting to play with as much variety as possible, 5-pound bags. How's that for an answer? I hope that makes it simple. Getting ready to inoculate some logs soon. Well, good, man. Heck yeah, let me know how they go. I know it's going to be like a year before you get mushrooms off of them, but let me know how they go. I'd like to see it. Hey, bro, your new warehouse is fantastic. I love it. Good luck. Thanks, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll take all the luck I can get. Let's see. Yagger says higher BE efficiency with small bags. That's true. Most people find that they have higher biological efficiency with smaller bags. But it's not really about biological efficiency to me. It's about how much mushroom you get per labor, per man hour. So you're going to work harder creating more bags than you would creating the larger bags. But you'll have more variety to play with. You will get a little bit better biological efficiency. And so, yeah, I think that's I really think that's the way to go. Like 5 pounds if you want to play with as much variety as possible. 12-pound if you want to just drill in deep to commercial success. Not everybody wants to do this for commercially, I know that I kind of focus on doing it commercially, but at the same time, I mean, there's no kind of me selling the strains. Like you can take those fantastic commercial strains and use them in a hobby sense at home and get amazing mushrooms and really cool looking stuff. In fact, a lot of what I'm doing with this breeding program is focusing on the way mushrooms look, the phenotypes of how they look, not just trying to produce a better blue oyster that performs a little bit better than the last blue oyster that was created. No, I want cool looking weird stuff. And that's probably not going to be big in the restaurant world, but hobbyists will fucking hobbyists will love it. Sorry, getting tired. I guess I'm not getting as comfortable. I'm trying not to cuss. Saw your Instagram post at the new spot. Rock on and upward. Excited to see the transition. Thanks, Bloomin' Boomin'. I'm appreciating everybody, showing us so much love with this thing. Like and being so supportive. It's a really, I'm in love with this spot. Like it's killer. So thanks. Great answer. Okay. I'm glad that helped, man, for sure. And you said, yeah, maybe for hobby, it's better as a small bag. Yeah. I think it's for sure if you're wanting to play with as much as possible. Do you grow maitake? If so, what do you use for your substrate and where do you get your spawn? I don't grow maitake yet. I have a European culture on order right now coming down the pipeline, and it is one that's commercially used a lot. The friends that I have that use it grow it on the Master's Mix, so apparently you can use the Master's Mix on it just fine. And guys, I about lost you here. I didn't realize that I didn't have my computer plugged in, and it just came up and told me it was about to close down. So the chat almost ended. Oh, it's getting pretty close to 2 hours. I think we'll call it at 2 hours. So you get about 9 more minutes with me. So that being said, with maitake, we would create our own spawn like we do everything else that we're doing right now. And for the substrate, I would use the Master's Mix. I try to grow everything I can on Master's Mix. When we go to the new warehouse, we probably are going to start growing shiitake. I have been historically very against shiitake, but only because it didn't make sense in my smallest space. Now that we're going to have a big space with tons of incubation room, then guys, call it Brody. You talk to her like that again, and I'm going to ground you from electronics. Live stream or not. You don't talk to her that way.
That's true.
Sorry. Enigma, I mean, I've already announced it, but I'll announce it again. It's Dune 1000 Nobleman. He's the one that won. And thankfully he got on here and said he got to see it. So that's pretty cool. So as far as Trippin' Billy is getting to maitake, it's a long incubator, as shiitake is, which is why I haven't played with it. Anything that's taken a long time to incubate, I don't use because that's how I'm able to grow 900 pounds a week in a basement is by only growing the fastest, most productive strains I can. And that being the case, we have to be very selective about how we do that. So Ben wrote a couple of articles, and he's writing a third one right now, called Mycological Warfare, Part 1 and Part 2. He's working on Part 3. It's talking about our vision for who the players are. The first one's like who the players in the field are. The first one is the battlefield, charting the battlefield, and the second one is Know Thy Enemy, which is basically discussing all the different types of farms that there are. And being a Tier 1 farm, which means that we're focusing on quick to produce, quick to spoil gourmet mushrooms, that would put us squarely into Tier 1. Being that way, we try to stay away from what we would consider more Tier 2 type mushrooms, which would be like things like shiitake. And then you've got like Tier 3 type mushrooms like portobellos, which have a very long shelf life. You have players who've been in for a very long time. That being the case, I've just tried to stay away from it. That being said, the reason why I even brought all that up was I will be going to shiitake at some point, but it will be off my standard subs. It will be not working with the Master's Mix. I'll be off my playbook, and so we're definitely going to have to do some different things. I'm not reading that right now. So you're going to have to go talk to your mom. All right. So, any Cubensis fans? I would say we probably have quite a few in the chat, but most of them probably wouldn't admit it. Hey, bro, I'm making my grain spawn bags myself using vacuum cleaner filter. Do you have an options idea? An options idea for what? changing your vacuum cleaner filter, or going to a HEPA filter, or you're about to clarify, Abraham. I'm not really quite sure what you're asking. Good, man. Thanks for your answer. Oh, you're welcome, Trippin. I'm glad that worked. Thanks, Enigma. So, question about that comment you said about trying to isolate phenotypes from your Black Pearl King. How does that work exactly, since it's a monoculture already, or is it? So, like I said earlier, what you would do is, like, when you want to isolate things, so we want to isolate phenotypes out of the Black Pearl, right? It grows like one way at some point, and then grows like another at the other point. So it grows more king-like, and then more oyster-like, and more toadstool-like. So the way you do this, and actually the isolates just went into the grow room. I want to say Monday or Tuesday, but I don't know. This week's been such a blur. It doesn't matter. This week they went in. And what it comes down to is you take your spore print and you breed that mushroom with itself. And that allows for all kinds of recombinations of the same genetic material. And it allows different things to express that you don't normally see expressed, like especially recessive traits. You'll oftentimes get double doses of those. It's called line breeding in mammals, right? When you breed a dog with its grandkid, for instance, or two cousins together, or sometimes the mother and the son, or something like that, that kind of stuff. I find that kind of distasteful in my mind, but it's a common practice. And what it comes down to is it is the best way to see recessive traits. They do this a lot with dogs. It will allow you to see medical problems in a line really quickly. So I really look forward to the day when we have good, strong genetic information and we don't have to do any line breeding. You can just see right into it, but we're not there yet. So that's kind of what that is, Yggdrasil, is that allows us to get an in-depth look into the phenotypes that exist within that strain by breeding it with itself and just recombining its DNA with itself. What's up, Andy Tuesday? S says, do you recommend using filters in the spawn bags when pressure cooking? I had one bag drawing a lot of moisture by doing that. So a lot of times you have the filter patches need to be, you would fold the flap around the bag and the filter patch is pressed up against the plastic. And if you could do it nice and tight, then water shouldn't be getting between the bag and the filter in the first place. Another way is to have your bag sitting, turn it upside down on the bottom row with the water and stuff in, and then you have your flap going all the way up the side, and then you keep just stacking your bags, and that'll get your filter patch up out of the water. But usually it doesn't come through the filter patch anyways, even when your filter patch is exposed. It's actually coming through somewhere where you've allowed your seam to be exposed and suck water in as it's cooling, which is interesting. So a lot of times that's when it's actually sucking water in, is when during the cool down after the cook. Ibrahim says, oh my gosh. So at Ibrahim, I just tested my vacuum filter build. I use the sleeve of a Tyvek overall as a pre-filter. Helps to keep it clean longer. Oh, you're talking about pre-filters then? Was that what the question? That's a good answer. I like that one. T. Walker, do you think there's a social stigma behind the word shrooms opposed to mushrooms, especially within a business name? In our circles, we all use them interchangeably, but normies associate tripping. I would say yes. That doesn't mean that you can't get away with it. But I specifically, like with my social media team, Melanie and Robin, have been like, I don't like the word shroom. Don't use the word shroom. Just don't use it. I don't want to be associated with tripping in any way. And it's not because I have a problem with tripping. I've tripped before. It is something that I want to grow this business. I want it to be pretty big, and I want to be able to get into the genetics game, and I want to be able to work with the government, and I want to be able to do a lot of different things that, I don't know. I guess having tattoos and all that stuff hasn't stopped me so far anyway, so shroom probably wouldn't stop me either. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little overly cautious, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't like that word. It makes me cringe. Lol just had a debate with the missus. Okay, I didn't read that part. Maybe I should have softened my words a little bit then, or maybe I should have softened them for you. I don't know who's on what side. What's up from Utah? Well, Utah, hello. Welcome to East Tennessee. Andy Tuesday said, I admit it. Fair enough. Everyone here is a bit of a panic over this pandemic. Everything closing. Canada, do you think it'll affect the mushroom community and maybe restaurants not having many patrons? So, I don't know. See, I've got a lot of people telling me that it is doing that to them, that they are slowing down some. But my orders went up today. And I know people are scared because my stores are empty of paper towels and alcohol and have been for weeks, and paper towels and all that stuff. So Knoxville I love Knoxville. I love East Tennessee. This community is one of the weirdest communities. It is you have like people in it that you meet every day that you're like, this is the most ignorant person I've ever met my entire life. And then you have them like people that you're like, this is the most intelligent person I've ever met. And you would never have guessed it otherwise until you talk to them. And then you have rich people and poor people, and you have every walk of life I've ever imagined. And I don't know. We're kind of like, I don't know. People pull together really easily here. And there's a whole movement right now of support your local farmers, support your local restaurants, support the restaurants that support the local farmers. And so, because that's what I've tapped into, my chefs are actually doing better. Now, they've put precautions in place. They have people like wiping door handles and being very careful. They wash their dishes, hot water and all that kind of stuff. But it's one of those things that really just, like, I don't know, people have pulled together. I think that you're going to see everybody pull together. I think there's going to be this initial panic. People are going to pull together, and then people are going to realize that this pandemic is not nearly, it's not like the Spanish flu. Like society is not on the edge of collapsing with this thing. They're shutting stuff down because they're just trying to stop the spread until warmer weather comes. When warmer weather comes and this goes away, they'll develop a vaccine, we'll all be okay. So I think sales will just go right back up. But here's the thing, even then, people who live in cities, they still have to go grocery shopping. They still have to eat. So they're still going to go to restaurants. I mean, how many people do you know in the city who cook for themselves every meal anyways? Some, but not very many. Hey, Collier and Brody, leave the room. Collier, I'm in the middle of the live stream. Do you think I want back talk right now? I'm done. I'm done talking about this. I'm done. We'll talk about it after the live stream. You should have thought about that, Brody, before you messed up his time. Let's see. I put some straw out to dry in the sun, and it's just starting to rain. See ya, thanks. Sorry, Mango. Yeah, take off, man. Grab that stuff. Sounds great, but gross, especially with dogs. Yeah, I know, man. With dogs, with mammals in general. I mean, because we are mammals, ugh, But with bugs and fish and spawning organisms, the what do they call it? Inbreeding depression doesn't seem to show up as much in a lot of things outside of animals. There's a lot of plants that are outcrossers, I should say, that suffer inbreeding depression, that kind of stuff. Interestingly enough, plants like wheat and corn and rice and things like that used to be outcrossing species, meaning they didn't take incestuous breeding very well. And then over generations and generations of people growing them, most wheat, oats, most grain strains that we grow are actually self-fertile. It's weird, and a lot of them can't even breed with anything other than themselves, or at least have a hard time. It's really weird. Like, that's a weird selective pressure we've put on a species, and kind of gross, but weird. Thanks for everything. In case you leave before I get back, I know you said it was ending soon. Take care. Yeah, Grasil, man, take care. I'm actually, it is past 2 o'clock. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Today I'm harvesting my totes. Congratulations, SLT. T. Walker, thank you. Exactly what I'm saying. Oh, about the shroom? Yeah, man, absolutely. Andy Tuesday, socially taboo. The shroom word, I agree. It is definitely socially taboo. And Daniel C. says, hey, Andrew, just made it. Just got, oh, Daniel, I hate it, man, because I'm getting off here, too. Just made it, got my sauna steamer in, and I'm about to grab a tote. The controller only has a set temp up to 60C, but would the temp keep going up to a covered tote? That would depend on, maybe that's part of the jumper wire that Ben was talking about that he had to move. I don't or was that the timer circuit? I can't remember. That's a Ben question. Absolutely. See you, Jason. Daniel C, is there any more mugs available, by the way? There are like 3 or 4 red mugs left and 1 blue mug left, I think. And that's pretty much it. And yeah, Jason, I'll see you tomorrow, buddy, for that cleaning session. Sakurai. I don't know what that means, Yggdrasil, but I'm glad you're back, and I'm heading off. See you, Dune. Congratulations on winning the giveaway. Make sure you get with me, man, so I can get that out to you as quickly as possible. Probably ship Monday. And Chris Curtis, I'll answer your question real quick before heading out. Hi, where's the best place to bulk buy soya hulls? I believe the livestock industry uses it a lot. It is your local farmers co-op. That is the best place to buy, hands down, anything you need for farming. So, guys, thank you so much for making this a good day, even though I was exhausted. Kept the trolls to a minimum and the good questions flowing, and you guys were very forgiving of my tired and mushy-headed state. I really appreciate that. So if there's anything I can do for you guys, remember, email me at mosscreekmushrooms@gmail.com. And as always, y'all, keep spawning culture. So have a good one.